You don't need to know the specific story of Phaedra to know that it is classic Greek tragedy.
Many theatregoers today would rather gouge out their own eyes than sit through an adaptation of a 2,500-year-old play. So, I should make it clear from the outset that Simon Stone's version of Phaedra, now at the National Theatre's Littleton, is not an adaptation, but an after, which means it is sort of inspired, but only very loosely, on the tale of the stepson-fucking suicidal Cretan princess. So, put those ironically eatable thoughts out of your mind. It is, in fact, a production that is accessible, relatable, stylish and very modern. It is more resonant to an episode of House of Cards than the House of Crete. Janet McTeer's Phaedra is called Helen. She is the environmental secretary or similar for the shadow assumed Labour Party. When we first meet her, she has an authoritarian, controlled presence about her. Though she may have been drawn to politics because of her beliefs and her passion, she has now become simply more political. Her family is born of New Labour, built on beliefs, ruined by reality. Paul Shahidi, the Iranian husband Hugo, is a diplomat with no sense of diplomacy. Archie Barnes, bratish teenage son Declan, knows it all, but his mind is closed to things he doesn't. Mackenzie Davis, the self-pitying, unhappily married daughter, is old, as low in self-awareness as she is high in self-pity. They are a family who take pride in talking honestly and openly with each other, but fail to listen. The brittleness of this family construct is clear from the start. As they ready themselves for their surprise visitor and the auspices of coming together to support each other, they become just a cacophony of noise, a heady mix of virtue signalling, thinly veiled insults, and loudly bellowed cunts. The overlapping text is relentless. It's like Carol Churchill on speed. Kudos to the actors for carrying it off so well. It's just a shame that it completely excludes the audience. Things become a little quieter, for a little while at least, with the arrival of Sophian, Assaad Bouab. Sophian has come from Morocco via Birmingham, and his presence radiates with the heat of his home, melting the ice that keeps this fractured family in place. This is the first time they have all met Sophian together, whose now dead father, Achraf, was Helen's ex-lover. Seeing how much Sophian resembles his father reawakens a passion in Helen, while Sophian, seeing Helen through adult eyes, recalls the role she played in his own sexual awakening. Before you can say mummy issues, she has thrown herself into her ex-lover's son's arms, and he has eagerly caught his childhood fantasy. Oddly, we are told later that they don't fuck. And so begins their brief but fiery sexual affair. For those who don't know the origins of this story, the sexual dalliance Phaedra had was with her stepson. So it's a little less icky here. However, this is far from ick-free. Helen's daughter is also infatuated with Sophian. Having been married for 15 years to a man who is sensitive, feminist, loving and adored by her family, the idea of the heroic on-the-run rebel Sophian represents is enough to make her moist. With mother and daughter both hypnotised by lust and both spending days in the bed of Sophian's Birmingham flat squat, thank God separately, you know it can't end well. And it doesn't. Helen's birthday dinner sees truths dished out faster than the starters, dramatic exits acting as garnish, and dessert replaced by strewn tableware. Again, it's all very rushed and not quite believable. But it's great fun to watch. Everything takes place within a glass box. Contents within the box switch from the sumptuously detailed weekend pad where they first meet Sophian and to the stylistic representations in the wintry mountains of Morocco. The box here may be a metaphor of the warning often given to people who live in glass houses. That would be relevant, if a little obvious. But it may also be just to follow the current fashion for glass boxes. Or rain, though there's no rain here. Okay, I'm being facetious, but there are times this set seems to have become a poisoned chalice. It is emptied and filled with huge set pieces many times, and this doesn't happen quickly. It also rotates, both within and between scenes. It doesn't rotate quietly. On top of this, there are over 20 blackouts in Act 1 alone. They show the recorded words that Ashraf left to his son. They play subtitles during these blackouts, but they come at an uneven tempo and are often a beat out of sync with the audio. It feels like there's too much stagecraft that just gets in the way. And sadly, it distracts us from believing in the characters. On balance, it ends up being more distracting than it is engaging. Early previews of Phaedra saw the show coming in at well over 3 hours. It now comes in at around 2 hours 45. Clearly, stage management has been told to speed up, they have a lot to do. But it seems as though the cast has also been given that note. The pace set in the very first scene rarely lets up. It means dramatic moments are thrown out like bullets rather than built up to. Important plot points aren't given the time to land or breathe. Blink and you'll miss Helen calling the Home Office. Cough and you won't realise she's lost her job. The final scene in the mountains of Morocco is given so many backstories to fill that the text picks up even more speed. It may also be trying to hide the gaps that don't really make sense in the plot. Why Hugo acts as Helen's translator when he now hates her. Or how Helen seems surprised by the consequences of the call she makes to the Home Office. A weird combination of too many words but too little being said. This Phaedra is without doubt quality theatre of a very high standard. The performances are strong across the board, and McTeer effortlessly owns the stage, gloriously towering over her surroundings even when she's breaking. The glass box is imposing. The settings meticulously detailed in the naturalism. It has all the elements that should make for an extraordinary piece of theatre, but they don't quite come together. There are plenty of things that make this show worth seeing. There are plenty of things that make it memorable. It just isn't the classic that you know it should have been. It isn't another Yerma.